Alright, welcome to part 3 of the pre-departure training for the University Administration Support Program. In this section, we'll be talking about your arrival in the U.S. In particular, the topics we'll be covering are various forms that you'll be encountering when you arrive in the U.S., in particular the I94 form and the Customs Declaration form, and the process of going through immigration or passport and customs. And then we'll talk about the airport pickup from the airport in Washington, D.C. Alright, so when you are on your flight to the U.S., you will receive the I94 and Customs Declaration forms. The I94 card is for passport control, and the Customs Declaration form is for the customs check. You fill out both forms on the airplane, and when it asks for your U.S. address, you can use IREX's address for that, which is written below, so please do make a note of that address somewhere for your flight. Okay, so you must complete the white I94 form for foreign nationals. I believe there's a slightly different form for U.S. nationals. You'll be completing this I94 form for foreign nationals. You'll need to fill out both the arrival record and departure record section. And you should keep the completed I94 form with you, as you will need to hand it to the immigration officer at the airport. So don't file that away, keep it in a handy place because you'll need to be submitting it when you go through immigration at the airport. You also need to complete the Customs Declaration form. A few notes here for the question: traveling on a business or work-related, place an X in the no box. The back of the form must also be stated, and as with the I94 form, keep the completed form handy to hand it to the customs inspector at the airport. And in the case of both the I94 form and the customs form, if you run into any difficulty in completing these, feel free to ask the airline personnel on the plane for assistance, and they should be able to answer any question you might have about the form. When you land in the U.S., at your first point of entry, which for most of you should be Washington, D.C., you will pass through immigration control and then customs control. At immigration or passport control, the immigration officer will request your passport with a valid J1 visa entry date, your DS 2019 form, and your I94 form. They will request fingerprints of your pictures, and they will take your picture. The immigration officer will your passport and visa with the INS entry stamp, portion of the I94, which is stamped with the immigrant status or J1 exchange visitor status, and a DS or duration of stay notation. And they'll also return to you your DS 2019 form. Please keep the bottom portion of the I94 with your passport until you leave the U.S. And I would suggest stapling this to your visa page of your passport, because if it's lost, it's very difficult and expensive to replace it, so please make every attempt to keep this portion of the form in a safe place. When you go through customs, you'll need to claim all of your luggage before passing through customs or going to another U.S. destination. As you pass through customs, the customs officer will ask for the customs declaration form and may ask you some questions about your luggage. If you bring a forbidden item, it will be confiscated and you may be detained and or sent back to your home country. So please, again, review the list of prohibited items and be sure not to bring any of those things. When you arrive in Washington, D.C., an IREX representative holding a sign that says IREX will greet you at the airport in the baggage claim area and will take you to your hotel. So please, when you come through after customs at Washington, D.C., keep your eyes peeled for the IREX sign and an IREX representative. IREX provides round-trip flights between Washington, D.C. and your U.S. host university. These arrangements cannot be changed or rerouted. We will reimburse you for any ground transportation, so taxis that you might need to take, and standard luggage charges associated with travel to and from your host university. This doesn't include overweight baggage charges. On U.S. airlines, unfortunately, you will almost certainly need to pay a fee for each checked bag you have, but again, IREX will reimburse you for these fees at the closing workshop when you return to Washington, D.C., so please keep your receipts, and we will be able to issue a reimbursement charges. The program does not provide for additional travel within the U.S. However, you might justify travel costs under a professional development allowance. That is, if you would like to visit another university in the United States and you have meetings arranged with administrators or other contacts at that university, you can request from IREX to use some of your professional development allowance to pay for travel or hotel to another university. Please note that participants on UASP are not permitted to travel outside the United States during their fellowship. If there's a reason for you to leave the United States, discuss this on an individual basis with IREX staff in DC.